Hi, I'm Nancy Green. I'm Executive Vice President here at Aon, and today I'm speaking to you as leader of Aon's Global COVID-19 Task Force. And this is the start of a series of podcasts that we're putting together to talk about the legislative and regulatory changes that COVID-19 has been generating here in the U.S. And what I wanted to do was introduce Daniel Serota, who's manager of our Public Affairs Department. And he's going to spend a few minutes talking us through some of the latest developments and helping us understand how they're coming together to impact organizations. And I'm looking forward to having Daniel share his thoughts with you.
Thanks, Nancy, for that great overview. My name is Daniel Serota, part of the Public Affairs Group here out of Chicago, Illinois. I think it's important for folks to have a very good understanding of what's going on. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of moving parts. And I wanted to make sure today that I gave you a little bit of an overview of some of the key actions that have taken hold in Washington. One of the key things that we saw in the last couple of weeks signed by the president was the CARES Act. This is phase 3 of the stimulus funding bill, which is really talking about how are we going to get small businesses back to making products, being able to get back to work and retaining their employees. Also part of this was a key part, and I'll go into a little bit of the numbers, was how do we give money to people now? Unemployment is on the rise, 4 times higher than what we've seen in the Great Depression, and we need to get people back to work as quick as possible. And I think this funding bill provides that on top of what is done during their unemployment. Really focusing on providing utilities, rent, mortgage, and payroll for borrowers. The Small Business Administration put out guidance in an application that it seems like is running low right now. We will see that members of Congress over the next couple days will really focus on trying to get additional funding here. Senator Mitch McConnell put out a poor forum on Thursday. That unfortunately didn't pass through unanimous consent, and they're going to try to do it again on Monday. This will be a way to try to see if there's more dollars to being able to be there for small business owners that didn't actually have a chance to supply, but it makes it where we're able to keep things moving. Another key part of this, which I think is important, is for eligible businesses that are not small. There's been a $500 billion exchange with Treasury for a stabilization fund. Part of that dollars, $25 billion, went to the airline industry, $4 billion went to cargo and air carriers, and $17 billion for that went to businesses to maintain national security. But the rest, $454 billion, is eligible for direct lending. And it has to meet under certain criteria, but the whole big point is no stock buyback. And the loan must retain up to 90% of its workforce. This then creates this opportunity to be able to keep people employed. But if you aren't employed, and there's that unemployment part that I talked about, which I think is crucial, is this part of this stimulus package under the CARES Act, $600 per week on top of what you would get during your unemployment via the states. And this provides an additional 13 weeks of the benefits for those that maintain and keep those employees long term. Another part of it on the stimulus package that I think it's important for folks to know is with income, people can receive checks, dollars in their pocket. If you're at a certain threshold, you would be able to receive a certain amount of dollar amount of how much you are either married, single, which had you. Children, if you have a certain amount of kids, $500 per child into your house, and you would receive that check. We're going to see those checks move in the next couple of weeks. The IRS will be putting out guidance around that as well. And that will be helpful for folks to have an understanding of how they're going to be receiving dollars right away. We've been told that this will be dollars that will be going through your bank accounts. Some people would receive actual checks. Some of that money would just flow through. And if you need to find additional information, I would recommend reaching out to your bank or lender to being able to find out when that would happen for you. I think another key part that's important for folks to be aware is the state activity. State insurance commissioners, regulators from all across the country have been putting out guidance. One of the key things is premium forbearance. 40 states have made it voluntary and 14 states made it mandatory. Every state, new adventure, new day. States are really reacting to this in a strategic way, but I think it's also important to know that this state activity doesn't stop here. Legislatures all across the country have also been very focused on business interruption, making it where it is helping these premiums being able to be paid under that. We have seen 7 states take fold. One of the new states that happened on Thursday was South Carolina. A new bill was introduced at the legislature level. Every day is kind of a new adventure in the insurance market. The insurance industry is kind of working together here to really try to find a solution that's going to work best for the American people and the small business community, especially, that have been impacted. On Friday, during the President Trump's press conference, he mentioned that the carriers should be paying some of these fairly across business lines. No guidance or no regulatory has taken fold there, but there were 7 members of the Senate came out to a letter to the president after that, basically saying we cannot do retroactive business insurance claims covered. These were all Republicans. We need to find a solution. We need to make sure this pandemic doesn't get out of control. The insurance market needs to stay intact, and we need to find a solution that works. There's been conversations about PRIA, which is the Pandemic Risk Insurance Act. Carolyn Maloney, a House member from New York, threw around some draft legislation that went out. Maxine Waters and others have talked about this as an option. And I think as an insurance industry, we're going to see more and more of these ideas take fold, but we all need to come together. And I think that's going to be a key theme, similar to what we saw with TRIA after 9/11. And we're going to see this moving forward in a way that we've never seen. This is a pandemic no one knew was going to be part of the 2020 mind frame. And I think we're all going to have to work together as an industry, from the policyholder to the carrier to the reinsurer to everybody, to come up with a solution that's going to work to make sure we can keep things moving in a strategic and get the economy back up and running. And part of this series that we're going to have here is really focused on a weekly podcast. My goal is for everybody to stay up to date, not only with what's going on in the US, but globally. And next week, I think one of our key guests is going to be my colleague across the pond, Alicia Wally, who's really tracking this for Aon across the pond in the EU and the UK, where business interruption isn't just here in the US, it's also been talked about in the EU and UK. For folks on the line that, really want to get a better understanding here, you can also go to our coronavirus task force website, which has up-to-date information. We've also made charts and awareness for folks on the updates on premium forbearance and other state guidance, which is very important for clients to being able to see, being able to look at. We're going to keep this updated daily. We think this is something that is important for folks to be able to have awareness of. And we're here as a resource. Some of the smartest people are at Aon, and I am proud to work with them and continue to keep working with clients and keeping them aware of, what is out there and become a resource. These are weekly, and we look forward to keeping you updated on what's happening across the US, but also globally moving forward.
So for some of these state provisions, can you help us understand, if our clients are asking how to work with an environment where you have different states implementing different provisions? So what would be your advice or guidance for clients who are asking that question?
Yeah, I think every state's different. I think we'll soon see some, more of awareness of kind of the one size fit all. I think states are starting to work closer together and really look within your state on your insurance commissioner. We're seeing different waivers of different parts of insurance products in different states, grace periods, premium forbearance, you name it. Every state's going to be different during this time. But I think overall, Aon is definitely a resource there to be able to help you navigate this situation as a whole. Some bigger states have done some bigger things. Alaska did termination of policies to non-payment until June 1st. Did Washington state do that? Did Illinois do that? No. But every state is doing something different because it's based on their constituency. Flood is really big in North Dakota. They did some flood payment delay for the NFIP. So we will see a wide range throughout the next couple of weeks, really focused on some of those guidelines and delays. But I think as an industry as a whole, we are kind of in the middle of it all. And, we want to be a resource for folks if they need help being able to understand where to go from here.
And is there information that we can share with clients and colleagues who are serving clients so that they can keep track of some of these changes? Can you help us understand where we could direct clients for their updates?
Yeah, sure. So COVID-19 website, Nancy, I think the one that you guys manage, I think we're starting to put that information on there. Every 5 minutes, it's a new adventure in the world of insurance. So things are changing rapidly. So we're continually looking to update that daily for folks to be able to have updates on guidance changes, waivers, et cetera, within those states, because I think it's important for folks to have that understanding. We also been updating folks, a lot of the states shelter in place guidance. I think it's important for the businesses and our clients to have awareness that every state does have different guidance, does have different rules, and those rules are changing daily. So we will continue to keep folks updated on that as well on the COVID-19 website and continue to keep things moving. We want to make this a way for you to have peace in mind of the data and information you may need. And that's what we want to be a resource for folks on.
Great. And we're very happy, Daniel, to have you as a part of our task force, making sure that our task force and everything that we're doing for clients and in support of colleagues working with clients, information like this is so important, particularly in an environment where things are changing. And we really appreciate you leading the effort to try to track and manage this type of information.
Yeah, it's a busy time for sure. As some of the leaders have told, myself, it's the Super Bowl for my field. It is very, very a lot going on in the world, but we want to make sure that our clients, our colleagues, and everyone have the information needed to stay afloat and really understand what it means, right? Because it's important you can watch it all day long. You can, as everybody's at home, bunkered down in their homes, but really understanding what it means. And that's part of the public affairs jobs to being able to do that. And we're a resource. We're a resource for any, I have conversations with clients. I've had conversations with leaders. We want to make sure everybody has the information needed to being able to go through.
Great. And I know that you were envisioning this podcast being the first of a series. And so we're very excited to be spending more time with you and hearing more thoughts about what's been going on and what you see coming through the pipeline.
Yeah, and this is one of many. And I think today I wanted to give folks a high-level overview, and I think we can start digging more deeper into the weeds, get some special guests and some other folks on the line, because this is going to be an evolution, and this is going to be, a lot's going to take fold, both at the federal and state level. And, we want to make sure folks are getting updated and aware of what this means for them. Well, I hope we can have some good guests to be able to come on, Aon colleagues or maybe external, to keep the conversation flowing. And Nancy, thank you for the leadership on being the lead of the COVID task force. You've done a fantastic job. You've been keeping colleagues aware and our clients aware of how we can help in the marketplace. So thank you.
So we refer you for more information to our website that's available at www.aon.com/coronavirus. The information that Daniel described, we're going to be posting it there. So please check back on a daily basis, because as Daniel says, information continues to evolve, and we're trying to update that site with as current information as possible. And thank you all for your time today, spending a few minutes hearing Daniel Serota talk about what's going on. And we look forward to the next podcast.
Yes. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
This information is a resource for Aon clients and business partners. It is intended to provide general guidance on potential exposures, and it is not intended to provide medical advice or address medical concerns or specific circumstances. Due to the dynamic nature of infectious diseases, Aon cannot be held liable for the guidance provided. We encourage visitors to seek additional safety and medical information from credible sources. Thank you.